Okay, today we're going to talk about how you can get the edge over other people in the welding business. There's so many variables in there. The one thing you want to do is keep educating yourself on not just welding, but everything around welding. What I'm talking about is you're going to have welds that are, especially you get into procedural welding, they're more complex. Everything's got to be spot on. You don't just go in there and burn rod. You got to be able to decipher weld procedures. There's usually routers that accompany that, and they direct you on how the welding is going to be inspected. So I'm just telling you what I've done to keep working. It's a long road, but you educate yourself enough, you're going to stay in work. And I'll say this a few times, you don't want to just be an employee. You want to be an asset to the company and to yourself. I'm going to share with you my experience and what I've learned to stay employed 40 plus years. So with welding, especially if it's going to be on procedures, the procedure will tell you how to weld it, but the company you're making this part for, they're mainly going to decide how they want it inspected. Some welds are ultrasound, mag particle, dye penetrant, X-ray. A lot of variables are just visual by itself. So what you want to do, okay, this is your weld. So how is that going to be checked? So you're going to base it, and it branches off quite a bit. So you'll get one weld, say, okay, the paperwork will have UT. Well, if you don't know the abbreviations, you have to learn this stuff. If it's an ultrasound weld, that weld's got to be super clean. I mean, every weld you want to put down got to be good, but if it's going to be visual inspected, it just has to look good. But if it's UT, that's an ultrasound test, and that's going to be a thicker plate, most likely multiple passes. That thing's better be clean, because companies hate when you got to go in and cut a weld out and redo it. Wasting time, wasting money. So educate yourself on how that weld is going to turn out. There's VT, okay, visual test. That's just going to be looked at. It's got to look pretty, it's got to look good, but make it a good sound weld, no matter what. There's, let's see, what's the other one? Ultrasound. Oh, RT is radiographic testing. That's X-ray. So this is more stringent than ultrasound. And this is what I did just to keep myself educated. I went to school for UT, visual test. I read up on X-ray. I didn't want to take the course. It was too expensive. I wasn't going to be an X-ray tech. So with those, just those three right there, they'll be on the routing of your paperwork, and sometimes on the print, depends on the part. So what I did, I went to school while I was working, I took an ultrasound class, the visual, and mag particle, which is MT, magnetic particle testing. That's another one. I took all the classes that apply on how a weld's going to be inspected. That gives you a heads up on how you're going to do that work. Now, like I said before, you don't want to do a sloppy job. Some guys just want to, burn rod. Well, that's fine, but you better be very good at it. The reason I'm telling you, don't just rely on welding alone. You want to educate yourself more, give yourself that edge. Like I said, make yourself an asset, not just an employee. You're going to hear this a few times because that's the key phrase in all of this. When they had a layoff, there was guys there 10 years, 8, 9, 10 years. They got laid off, and I was only there, I think, 2.5, 3 years because I didn't just weld. I came in as a layout fitter welder. What's the company going to do when it comes layoff time? And it depends on the job. If it's a major, union company, okay, they base it on seniority. But if there's classifications in that system, which means they have a group of layout fitter welders, and then they just have a group of welders, well, I can guarantee you the ones that are going to stay are the combination people. You got to learn to multitask here. This will keep you employed. Also, learn the lingo of the blueprints. Now, engineers, they talk different. They don't just, here's a picture, build this. No, they'll give you a line on the drawing. It might have a number on it, but what is that on a blueprint? That's a horizontal plane. If you're on a phone with the engineer, you have to talk like that. And then if you got one going this way, well, that's a vertical plane. That could be 2 inches. This could be 5. Could be any number. That line, that's a diagonal plane. So the more you learn, the more you understand engineers on how they talk, and they get comfortable with you, they're going to come to you and say, this guy knows how to talk to us and relate and how to relay information. They had a group, I didn't even sign up for it. They included me because it's called a Six Sigma program. And they were the troubleshooters for the fab shop and the machine shop. And I wasn't a full member of it, but they included me because I had hands-on information on just how to build, what to look for, how this part should come out. Can we make changes to make it better and cheaper and faster? And it all comes down to money. They don't want to spend more money on you, but they want to make sure you can save them money. So I was the weld shop inspector, and then I was the weld shop foreman. And it was like a combination of hats right there. And they gave me a free hand here. Just make sure these things come out right. So once you know what to look for, how to build it right, educate yourself on everything around this weld. Because when it comes down to inspecting these a certain way, they got to be right. I got to use a company car. I was going to companies, inspecting parts on their site. And actually, I told them about that. Why don't, instead of waiting for these big parts that had to be come in on a semi, on a big flatbed, they weighed tons. And if it got rejected, put it back on the truck and send it back. Why? So I talked them into going on site. Say, look, we can check these here. They can fix it right there. I can buy it off. And they ship it to us and put it in stock. So what I'm saying mainly is educate yourself. That's why I put this up here. Weld education lasts decades. The more you learn, the more valuable you're going to be. I took the CWI exam. That's write this here. CW. Okay. A CWI, Certified Weld Inspector. The test for this covers every aspect of welding. More than these. There's all of these combined. Here's another one. PT. Okay. That's penetrant testing. It's still a visual type test. Well, after you spray on this the fluid and everything that checks for cracks. Penetrant test. That's what it's looking for. This penetrant will go into a crack, and then you spray on a developer, and if there's a crack there, it'll show up. And it's mainly subsurface. Well, surface to real light subsurface. But there's got to be a crack for that penetrant to go into. Take classes. Then, like I said again, make yourself an asset. The more you do that, the more you're going to work. That's what, and it took a long road, and it will be a long road if you do all of this, but it will pay off. There's everything you can look at can be welded, practically. But it's up to you to make yourself an asset. That's it. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. I mean, it's a lot of information to take in, but if you do it the right way and educate yourself around that weld and everything that applies to welding, you'll stay working. Simple as that.